Good evening. Thank you, Scott. Man, we really look up to that guy. He really steers this ship. I tell you. Oh, could you not hear it? Nuts. Dang it. All right. You can hear me. That's a shame. That's a shame. I'll have to do something a little bit later. I didn't hear the video at all. Blah, ha, ha. Okay. So maybe I can do it now. I tried to bring it up and load it. Let's do share screen. I could hear it. Here. Let's do this. Can we do full screen? No. Well, rat farts. That's all right. Let's see. Can I bring this back over? Yeah, I'll bring this back over. All right. So this is a sausage making party. I'm gonna have to work on that and see if I can do that. Stop sharing the window. Maybe I gotta do this. Let's start over. It's not gonna be funny now. Dang it. It's funny to me though. Let me put me one person up. There we go. Good evening. It's been exactly a month since I started doing this. And I was thinking today, I know the president, and I am happy to serve at the pleasure of the president, but he goes for like 4 hours, and I got to work in the morning. I got to go to bed. So I hope he will understand that I'm stepping on his toes. I don't bring a big crowd, so he will likely not be hit by it. So I wanted to go over where I'm at 1 month in. So I am going to share my screen again. And we're going to go to, let's try that one, and here. Okie dokie. So, today's the 3rd. My very first video was put out on the 4th. I went ahead and looked through some of the analytics on the thing. And so this is my little speech here because we at Am I Driving heard that our name may have been offensive. So that was our apology video. And I guess it's not meant for me to apologize. But we did change the name to Sausage Italicized Making Party. So I hope that puts some of you at ease. Let's see. So month in a review, raw data. I've made 19 videos. And I don't know what any of these metrics are coming next. 1.6K views. Well, that one's pretty self-explanatory, but this watch time hours, I'm not sure what that means. 93.6 hours. The current content. So I have the edited gardening videos, the behind the wheel thoughts. Those are just, I record them on my phone and download them usually while I'm walking into wherever I'm going. And then the live streams, which have been these behind the scenes and conversations with friends. I like where that's at. I think it's a good enough balance. There's no telling where it's going to go, but for now, I kind of got a couple different outlets to do the stuff, so I think I'm okay with it, and I kind of like where the boat has ended up ashore. It seems like a safe enough place. I get to check off stuff off the honeydew list while also making content. Yeah, so I think I'm okay with it. And then new products. So let me see if you can see this. Uh-oh. Why aren't you moving? There we go. Let's move you over here. Oh, guess what? I'd never shared it. There you go. Well, that's awesome. So, yeah. There we go. So, 19 videos, 1.6K views. That seems crazy high. Because, like, my counter, when I go on the thing, it looks like 32 views or something like that. I don't know. It must be something with the way they count them. But 19 times 32, that's not 1.6. Now, I do have a lot of views from the few shorts that I did when I was testing things out at the beginning. I did do another short of the garden after we got some rain, or while we were getting some rain. That got like 300. And then the one of the making the roux videos got somewhere around there too. So that's 6. So I don't know, maybe the number's good. And then my current content. So here we are here on C and C Roman numeral 1. So new products. I got these yesterday. So we got a new, let me go to here. Yeah. So this is an 8K Vivitar. It's got a little screen that opens up. It's got plugs in the back for a microphone jack, USB-C, and what's the other one? Like a micro HDMI cord. So I tried to plug this into my computer so that I could do these videos with it, but I'm out of HDMI cords because I have 2 monitors, and one of the monitors is an old, like, flat screen TV. It's pretty big, so that's taking up like an HDMI cord. And then I think I have, like, my son convinced us into buying, like, I forget what he calls it, but it's like a light up keyboard and mouse. So I think one of those are taking up an HDMI cord. But this cost me $150. It comes with some cable. No, that didn't come with the cables, but that is that. I got wireless microphone, which I talked about a little bit on the live stream this morning. It's got 2 microphones, a receiver, and some jacks so that you can plug them into your phones. It comes in the case, the charging case, and then it also comes with, it took me a little while to figure it out last night, but I finally did. You got your different jacks for the microphone jacks. So it's got a couple different ones because this one's like a stubby. I think that's what happened this morning when I was talking to Claire. Like, that one's a little bit different. It's only got 2. So I think the one that I was using here might be different. I don't know. I'm learning it all. So we got that. And then what's next on the list? We got, let's go back to here. How do I get back to the share screen? No. Edit name. No, I don't want to stop sharing. I just want you to start sharing. Cropped layout. No, that didn't do it. That made it huge on my screen. I don't want to do that. There we go. Okay. So, it's interesting. It only goes back to me. I can't do the picture in picture anymore. Okay. So next one is the tripod, which is behind me. That's going to be super helpful. I kind of can't wait to, oh, because we're on the other screen, I'm not sharing. Boop. New tripod. It stands pretty tall. It is a little flimsy, but it should do the job. I can put the thing up. I kind of wanted a little umbrella because the phones get hot. So the camera is likely going to get hot too. That was a determining factor. And I tried to get one that was a lighter color so it wouldn't get as hot in the sun, but it didn't go with the stuff. So all the mulch I've gotten has been free. I actually got another load that they want to give me. That's kind of the downfall to doing this stuff with the free mulch, is that once they know they can dump it here for free, they kind of want to do it all the time. I got garden pruners for $40, and then the 3 tomato plants for $11.99 for a grand total of $355. So over the month, I have paid. Oh, look, a little fuzzy thing came out of for the microphones. A little fuzzy doodad. That's cool. Little windbreaker thing. Okay. So back to this. Yeah. And so yeah, for a grand total of $355 over the course of a month. That's kind of a lot. I didn't want to spend it. I did pray about it before, got a sense that I should do it. My wife didn't really have any reservations. But I don't know. I went ahead and pulled the trigger. I was looking at a camera for like $100, and then I think I found a set of mics, and even considered not buying a mic for like $50, but they didn't link up. We bought them at Best Buy. So one of the things I could not get was the DaVinci system. It let me download the thing, but I guess I'm running too old of an operating system. So I can't run the DaVinci. It won't even, apparently there's some kind of doorway problem, because the error code I'm getting is pathway cannot be found or something. I have the icon on my screen. I went through the zip files. Man, I spent like 3 hours yesterday trying to download the thing. I originally, because I got 20 and 21, I originally tried to download the 21, thought, oh, okay, it was in beta testing, so I thought maybe there was some kind of issue. So I did not end up getting that up and running. So I'm going to run out of the Movavi. I cannot remember the exact date. I could go back through the videos and find out, but I did start playing around while I was trying to make that film or skit or whatever you want to call it with the Google Vids again. But yeah, so I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do with that. And then how do I feel? That's the last here, so I'll just switch it over. I'll just remove, and then we'll come to here. Yeah, I think I'm on. So I'll just read what I wrote. I feel as though I'm moving in the right direction. I've been adjusting to the new demands and how to juggle time between work, family, my own self-reflection, and work on myself and rest. Kind of finding the space to do all that stuff has been a struggle, but I wouldn't call it overbearing. I find myself getting joy from this endeavor, and it's helped in other aspects of my life. So as I've been doing this, for instance, I want to spend time with the family. So I've noticed that I've been trying to make that time richer, more intentional, so that it's not, because we'd spend a lot of time together before, but a lot of times it was a little bit more wasted, a little bit more taken for granted, so to speak. So because I want to make sure that I'm not taking from them to do this, I found that my time with them has been richer. So that's an aspect of how all the things are important to me. So I want to make sure I'm not robbing from Peter to pay Paul. That's something that I've found in doing this. Let's see. I kind of went on my own there. I went a little Trumpian on my speech. So let's see how I sense of time becoming more intentional and less taken for granted. The sense that I might be a bigger vessel for the Spirit to move through me, as I embark with friends to see, like SEA, to play a part in increasing the flotilla and possibly stewarding folks to a safe harbor, lends itself to me a grace that I'm appreciating, and it's helping me to love others and myself better. So, by the way, thank you, Grim, for not letting me go on American Idol and not being able to sing. I appreciate you looking out for me, buddy. So, that's where we're at. Oh, look, Brett's here. Let's add Brett. I'm going to move this guy out of the way and bring you so I can look you in the eye.
Yeah, let me do the same.
Let's come over here. I had you on my second screen over there so I could read. So how you doing? How's your weekend?
It's
How's
good.
church?
Awesome. Yeah, I just got back from the night service, so that was cool. I've got a cat in my lap that's driving me crazy here. Right? Yeah, that's cool, man, with all that equipment. That's awesome. You got any weird questions about it?
Not yet. So I was thinking about playing with it today, but me and the wife hung out a little bit, and then I also watched the movie for movie night.
Oh, you already got to it.
So Ezra put out a post that
Yeah, I saw that.
put it on for free. And so I went ahead and watched it. I considered whether I should watch the free version because he had mentioned that it was cut up, made for TV. But I figured, I'll go ahead and watch that. And I can see why maybe they cut it up. There was a cut scene at the end that might have been a little inappropriate. So.
Oh, really? I didn't know that was edited, I guess, for YouTube.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because it was probably rated R. It came out in 88, I think, is when it came out.
That was when Carpenter was his best. No, that's when his movies were pretty viral.
Before
viral was a thing.
Right.
I guess it's always been a thing.
Yeah, so I didn't play with them too much. Plus, I'll go back to the hospital 2 more days, and one of my days off from the hospital will be spent doing one of my home health cases, so I'll be short on days. So this is when this kind of stretch of the month, I usually try to be cautious and overextending myself, just because, I don't want to be short on energy when I'm in the hospital. So I really work to try to make sure I'm keeping some stuff in the tank.
Does that look better?
Put it back.
I just changed the resolution. I just wanted to see what would happen.
I think I noticed a little change, but I don't know if it was better or not. I have the eye doctor do that thing like 4 times before I make a decision.
So it happens when we get old and we wear glasses.
I want to be sure.
That's the thing I had to figure out too. I have to convert all my documents to a black background with like yellow writing or whatever, so you don't get as much glare. StreamYard, unless I ignore the chat, which I guess, let me see what happens. Yeah, it's a little better. See the reflection in the glasses?
That's why I stare at myself, because I feel like the reflection's just blocking my eye view.
Yeah, I don't really care what I look like, but I do care if it's a distraction. You know what I mean? That's really all I care about. So it's like looking down like this. But
yeah. Well, I want people to feel like I'm looking at them. I've also, another weird thing is taking time to look in the camera with some intentionality. So people think there's an etiquette to this Zoom call thing. And so I'm trying to make sure I'm doing so.
Although when you're doing solo stuff, or I guess when you're interviewing somebody, I don't know, it almost seems like there's this weirdness when somebody's staring at the camera. I don't know.
Or not enough?
I don't know. I don't know what it is. It's like I'm listening to the person talking to the other person, and I guess some of them are looking up like this because they're looking at a monitor. The other person's staring right into the camera, listening, and I'm like, who am I looking at here? You know, like the guy that's staring off into space or the guy that's staring at me, you know, and there's like this subconscious thing where I'm going to stare at the guy that's staring at me and not the guy that's talking. It's so weird. I don't know.
I think the rest is history does a good job because their cameras are off to the side.
Yeah.
So it kind of makes them look like they're conversating with one another. And Chris does that in the morning too. So I think that kind of gets away from the idea that you have to look at the camera. And then he pays attention to like which position everybody is. So he's always on the side that makes it look like, let's see if I can.
It is pretty funny. But I do like that. It's like when you have, you know, like if you can see somebody staring to the left, like some of the guys have pretty good, you know, like I'm going to adjust this guy over here. I'm going to adjust this guy over here. Like they'll just naturally do it from their end. And I think it's helpful, but that's just like eye for detail. And again, who cares? I mean, it's not, we don't care. We just, you know, whatever. It's just kind of like overthinking things in the beginning where, you know, and then eventually we're going to not care about any of this.
Right. Well, then it becomes part of you, and then you don't have to care as much. Like you care at the beginning while you're kind of learning. You're going, oh, well, this does this and this does this. Because look, I mean, say what you will, but I mean, there's a certain expectation as to what these things are, you know, and even though we're bringing our own new flair to it, right, there's still some kind of like expectation as to what it could be. And so, you know, and plus too, I mean, if you're, and not to totally push back on you, but to offer a little bit, like what's the point of doing it if you don't care, you know? And all this stuff matters, you know, and I don't know. I wouldn't want to push somebody away for lack of care, if that makes sense.
Yeah, you know? I think caring about what you're doing shows a sense that, you know, you're taking it seriously and not just, you know, but again, there's some people that's their freestyle is the glue for their thing, which is cool. Like I love Grim Grizz's program because you literally have you have this like he kind of narrates things. He's let me do this other tab, you know, like it's, you know, whereas it's not scripted. I mean I'm sure that, you know, with his tabs and he's getting things set up,
got the card.
Yeah, I'm sure he's got some of the stuff scripted, but you know what I mean. Yeah,
you can tell he puts thought into it. And eventually I'll land on my own style. But to be honest with you, part of my style is this very analytical, planned out kind of, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I
You
think
do a
my
good job.
art
Yeah.
would reflect that too.
Yeah,
Thanks.
I like your what is it? Like the way you put your stuff together and stuff like that. That's why I mean, I know I can do it with other software and everything, but that's one of the reasons why I really wanted to get a new computer with the DaVinci stuff, because I'm not going to do the other channel until I have that stuff locked and loaded, because I really do want to put a really good product together.
Hmm. Hmm.
So, like I've shared the Vlocalypse Now channel to other people, and I just gave them a forewarning that aren't into the TLC. Like, they don't know anything about this, but yet they're interested. And I'm like, hey, just forewarning, man, this is not high polished stuff that I'm working with right now. I'm just messing around, throwing intros at the beginning of something, make it entertaining to a degree. But I'm not living to make excuses for it all either.
Right. I love. So I saw you release the picture.
Yeah, what do you think?
I love it. I think it speaks to kind of what's going on in the morning. I wonder.
There's a little video that I created, and I screenshotted that from it.
Mhm.
It's so corny. I love it though. I don't care.
That's kind of us, though. I feel like we're a little, because we bounce around. We talk about root beer, we like, But then we're not. I wouldn't say not afraid, but we'll give our opinions on things. It's no, I liked it. I liked it a lot. I
Did you
thought
read
it.
the description on it?
I believe so,
Hold
but
on.
it's not. I'm not recalling it right to mind. Let
I'll read
me.
it to you. I thought it was kind of cool because I was looking up pithy things, and hold on a minute. Yeah, here we go. I put so Dawn Patrol, a flux wave in the TLC, and then I said thinking more about the TLC waves and where it fits in. Mornings have had a nice time for me to enjoy risers in this space. Flux refers to a constant flow, change, and movement, like the flowing streams and the tidal flux in an estuary. It was I was a crappy surfer, but I could always wait for the right wave. Maybe I did something cool, maybe I didn't, but but at least I got out there and tried. So, and it made me think of Cassidy. I think she was on, when they were talking about the waves and with the breakwater, the word breakwater, and that kind of correlates with that breakwater thing. You know, the idea behind it, if you caught that, was that, this is a dangerous place, right? And I thought it was kind of cool to talk more about that plus the waves. But I think it was cool that she's trying to create a place like, and what breakwater is it's a buffer to protect the shores, from erosion and from the turbulence. And but I also too see, and the flux is part of that, like the flux wave that comes in, hits the breakwater, or there's a correlation between that. But I thought about that with how, I mean, I'm a bit edgy, but I'm not, that's not my, I'm not trying to be a jerk either. So, and it's good when I'm one on one with someone. Luke had brought that up in one of his conversations with Adam's Fall,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I
and
watched that today.
yeah, and so I'm definitely more hospitable when I'm having a conversation with somebody like this, or even to a degree, even in a group when I'm like this, whatever, But I definitely think more, I usually don't have much of a toggle when it comes to the comments. I'm more direct, which I'm working on.
Well, I've always found the text thing to be difficult, text and email, because I tend to be kind of snarky, but in a playful way, and it doesn't translate unless you know me when I'm writing the text or the thing. It doesn't translate, and I get in trouble because I just basically what I think and would say in person ends up on the text, and it doesn't land well sometimes. So I've always had a more difficult time with texting.
Well, William Branch is phenomenal. His big signature is the winky eye at the end, you
Hmm.
know, and so you kind of
Hmm.
you start to develop, his remarks and when he's being cute, you know, and what's up, Zap? So I thought that was kind of cool. But I am interested to talk about the wave stuff. Maybe we'll get lucky and somebody that's on some of the earlier waves that'll come on tomorrow morning and just kind of, I don't know, give their opinion on them.
There
But I
were
do,
two yesterday, two
yeah,
different opinions
yeah.
yesterday.
Which ones are you talking about?
So PVK in the comments listed like six or seven.
I heard you read
Uh,
that out this morning. Yeah,
yeah, and then Grim gave his on top as I was writing them out. So PVK and Grim. So PVK would say wave three, while Grim said wave one. And it was kind of interesting because I think because this thing started with PVK, his timeline's going to be sooner,
right.
right? Because really for him, it's when he started with the Jordan Peterson Bible series.
Well, and to be fair to Grizz, he's coming at it from a perspective of the TLC wave, which the word and everything kind of got coined after they were on video. So their perspective on where things started for different people, he's kind of explaining it from a different place.
Yeah.
But they brought up the morning wave, which I thought was pretty cool because there definitely seems to be a little group that likes to regularly chime in the morning, and I try to not show up every morning because I'm like working on that compulsion thing.
Well, I mean, Ethan kind of is the first one that tagged on to Chris, right? So Chris tagged on to Chad, then Ethan built on Chris's clockwork regularity, right? Every morning at half past, there's Chris. And so he jumped on the hour before, and then, me and you now kind of coming in and filling the slot when Ethan's not on. Because, I mean, shoot, for Ethan, he's got to get up at like, what? He's got to get up at like 3:30 in the morning to be
Yeah,
on
he's
by
what, an hour
4:30 his time.
an
Yeah,
hour
yeah, I
early.
think so. Yeah. So, because Chris jumped on at 6:30, so that's 5:30 for us, 4:30 for anybody west, right? Central time zone. So,
And for me, I got to get up
you
earlier than I'm going to get going because I want to
hmm
shower, wake up, get a cup of
2 cups of
coffee.
coffee.
Yeah. So 5:30 in the morning, man, I'm going to be getting up at 4:30 probably at least, right? So I'll probably get to bed early tonight just for
Yeah,
fun
I would like
tomorrow.
to. Yeah, that's why I couldn't wait. I had to step on the president's toes. I'll shine his shoes for him.
I was on there for a while. He started talking about the game a lot more, and because I was interested in his thoughts about stuff, and but then he kind of got hung up on what he was doing. So then I saw you went live and I said, "Oh, let me go check him out." So that's cool. All the gear. I looked into that. That's called Symphonic, right? The microphones,
Ceremonic.
Saramonic. Yeah,
It
yeah. I
might be
had
a
that.
ripoff of that.
No, maybe I don't know. I had that brand saved in my wish list,
Okay.
but the computer is definitely priority for the exactly what you're dealing with.
Yeah, and it sucks because I don't. I mean, the computer's working fine. I got plenty of memory. Um, I don't know. It looks like DaVinci will run off of 10, Windows 10, which I do not have Windows 10. Um, yeah. So I don't know. I might be able to get away with changing and updating to Windows 10, but then I'm worried about losing all the files I do have if I do that. Um, I've never gone through like an update cycle. You know what I mean? Like in that way. So, and then the cost, then I'm sure it'll be a couple $100.
Yeah, well,
You know, if we get it, and I don't even know because, and one of the reasons why I have such an old operating system is because I didn't want to be roped into all the what you call it, the subscriptions, because now they're pushing like Windows 360 and all that stuff.
yeah. See,
You
that's that.
can't do like the Word documents anymore. Like, and now I'm running out of space because I ended up finding a help with that on the Google Docs. But now I'm running out of space on that, and they only want to charge me 49 cents. But
I know you.
I do not want to give people access to my account. So that
My
means
mom's the same way, bro. Listen, I get it. I gave in a long time ago with Apple, and it started when the iPhone first came out, and I'm like, this is surreal. This is better than anything on the market. I love the Zoom, the full web page. I mean, nobody was doing that, and I knew their hardware was pretty good. And
Mhm.
so I was like, okay, I'm going to make the jump. And so I got the iPhone, and I was like, oh, you got to be kidding me. And this was in the beginning, like the App Store was, all that stuff was just, they were just working things out. And then I just decided to make the changeover from a PC to a Mac, or yeah, what was it, MacBook.
Okay.
And I was getting ready to start school, and I'm like, this just works out for me. I'm gonna just start learning a new computer.
Hmm.
And like I said before, I think you got to go like up to the left to close a window instead of up to the right when you're used to doing that, and then learning how the operating system and how you download files and how it's stored. And but since I've changed, I am grateful that I have a Mac, and especially now getting into videoing and stuff like that. There is an advantage. Like Mac is definitely more trying to cater to the creative, the musician, the video guy,
Yeah.
but again, I'm sure that somebody um, could argue Windows. But to your point, every time I did something with Windows, I mean, it just was like a barrage of nonstop crap. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me, you know? And I mean, Apple has their crap too. So there's, you know,
So I was always an Android guy, and like I was gifted the iPhone, and while I think some of the things are better, it for me from a user's perspective, I feel like everything takes an extra step. Like for instance, on my Android phone, all I got to do is click the volume down 2 times past the lowest level, and it goes to vibrate and then silent. On the Apple, I got to flip open a door and flip a switch to
well,
get
that's your
it to go
taste.
to silent. Yeah.
I'm just saying. Well, I will say this. It is funny to watch older people try to figure out how to shut their silence off, and then they realize
I
that they
turned
got
it off
this.
on accident. I didn't know how. For like
That you,
3 days, I was just staring at my phone, worried I was going to miss a notification.
so you want a funny story?
So-
I am very diligent. I leave it pretty much silent all the time. I mean, because I check it. I check it for time. So I'm looking at it from time to time throughout the day. So there's not like a huge gap from me missing something. I mean, it happens, but I'm not on call. You know what I mean? So um, I'm in the Psalm service this morning, and um,
oh no.
they're reading the Bible passage. It's reading automatically, so like people can follow along. So we're reading, and it's playing, and we got a full house this morning. Like it was like, I don't know, 9 full tables of people, and so it was kind of kind of a lot of people. And I went to go look at in Logos, in my Logos app, to look something up that we were reading to get
Mhm.
some clarification. And I opened it up and I forgot I had accidentally clicked Claire's live stream. So
I'm sorry, dude.
as soon as I opened it up, it's Claire's voice echoing, and I'm like, and the problem was it was a short. That's what it was. It was her short. I accidentally.
So it's not in a normal stop to turn
Right.
it off.
Right.
Oh,
So I'm like
no.
trying to swipe up, trying to, because I know if I just, because I have, I paid a
Premium.
membership for YouTube. So if I click
Yeah.
off, it'll still play.
Yes.
Oh, my Lord. Oh, my Lord.
Uh-oh.
No, Olson, I'm not a
Too much.
pastor.
Too much.
I am in seminary, but I'm not planning on planning on, yeah, she's haunting me. She's haunting the house of the Lord. Yeah, I'm in seminary, but I'm not planning on taking an ordination in the CRC. I'm just doing it for educational purposes and also like my Flock in the Fold thing is going to be a ministry the way I see it, right? An online ministry, learning how to teach properly and go through things. The people, if they find me entertaining or they like what I have to say or they like the way I'm delivering it, then great. So Calvin Seminary, Calvin Theological Seminary.
So you gave me an idea. That's why I was moving around. I'm going to see if my laptop has a newer operating system, and I might do that here, and then that keeps it all isolated here. My buddy is watching, and he texted me, and he gave me some constructive criticism. Says I wasn't giving you enough respect by shuffling around.
Oh, please. That's not how we roll here. Hey, Scott.
Yeah. So I felt I needed to give you an apology, kind of. But I think that's a good idea because then I don't have to buy a new operating system because this is newer than my PC.
Is it a work computer or is it your computer?
No, it's mine.
Okay.
Yeah, I bought it for work, but it's all mine. It's older still, but and it runs Windows, so that might be an option for me. But it's been in my book bag now for a while. I got to get her charged up. So thank you, Brett.
Yeah, no.
While I was wrestling around there,
because then you can edit on the computer and then shoot it over.
Exactly. Yep. So I know you're out there watching Nanner. That's to my buddy.
Nice.
Kind of like the family that was watching on yours.
Yeah, that was crazy. Yeah, well, my brother and my dad went on a golfing trip. So they're like literally sitting in a hotel with nothing to do. And my dad knew I was going to be on. And so the next thing I know, my brother, and again, like I was cracking up. I'm like, nobody wants to talk to me about theology or listen to me about theology or any of this philosophy stuff. And they're like in a hotel room and they decide that they're going to sit and listen to it. They lasted for 30 minutes. That's about it.
Still, they supported you.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were going over your analytics and stuff. That was cool, right?
Yeah, like I said, I don't know. I don't really know what it means. I've heard people mention them from time to time. Something about watch hours, and I guess that's how you get monetized.
Yeah, I mean, apparently they're going to do it regardless. I'm not going to obviously do anything above and beyond whatever they're going to do. You know what I mean? Okay. So I'll just let whatever happen. And but I do like, the only reason why I like the shorts is because obviously I've gotten over 300 views on some of these shorts, and I'm like, well, that gets them, a way to connect to the channel. You know what I mean? So it kind of is cool because it gives you the opportunity to, like, if somebody happened to click on it randomly because you ended up in their algorithm, maybe they want to hear a little more or whatever, and then they can click on. I hope you can still hear me. I saw your camera glitching, so I'm hoping that you just tried to step out and then come back in, because you don't want me freestyling on your channel. Trust me. Yeah, Olson, though, it's remote learning. It's matter of fact, when PBK and EJ were down here for a conference, Calvin was here, and they had one of their side breakouts was talking about the competency learning program, and they were explaining how it was going to work and all that stuff. So EJ's so funny. This is the first time I ever met him or heard from him. He's like, so it's kind of punk rock. And I was like, oh, this guy's cool.
I can't hear you now.
You can hear me?
No, I can't hear you.
Let's see.
Lost you somehow.
Well, I'm not muted. Let me just mute it and then unmute it. Can you hear me now? But I don't see you. He says he hears both of us, but you can't hear me. All right. Testing 1 2 3. So anyway, yeah, that's how I met EJ, and so yeah, it's pretty cool. It's been awesome. We have a cohort of people that do like what we're doing in the TLC, where we all are on there and we get to engage with the professor. Can you hear me, Scott? And which is really sweet.
There we go.
But can you hear me?
Yep.
All right, cool. That worked out. I said, you don't want me freestyling on your channel, bro.
I don't mind. I don't mind at all. Not at all. Yeah, you'd be a good steward for sure.
No, yeah, I wouldn't try to embarrass you.
It's kind of weird because I could see my camera glitching out when I was putting the things up, and then it just gave up.
Is that the one that's on the computer? Like you have a different one?
Yeah, I got a very, very cheap monitor here, and then we got it's old. We got it for my son. I want to say it was before COVID, but maybe right around there, because because he had to use it for school, and the monitor doesn't have a mic or a camera. That was back in I'm not buying any smart TVs because they got mics and cameras in them.
Listen, it was a rough time, man. Yeah. Even pre-COVID, people were already starting to lose faith, and then that happened, and it was like, you got to be kidding me. But yeah, I ended up buying before I started. I mean, the camera and the Mac isn't that bad, but I wanted something a little bit better resolution. Just again, it's about a distraction thing. Mm-hmm. Plus, I mean, this isn't true necessarily in the TLC, but like if one of the things I was watching when I first was checking this stuff out is one of the tips was you should always check your videos out after you load them and everything on other platforms, especially ones you think most people are going to use. And so like the television, a lot of people watch YouTube on TV.
Okay.
Maybe not in the TLC. I mean, there might be more PC phone.
Yeah, they stream it.
Yeah, but like at night, I'm on YouTube on the television, catching up on something. Like when I'm about to go to bed, I'll pop it on there, and it's much larger, and then like the detail is, it's a lot clearer, like I don't know, like if I have drool coming out of I might not see it on my computer or cell phone, right? But on a big screen, boy.
I think that's just going to have to be something we eat.
Yeah, I don't care. I did think though, little tips like that. I learned about also, I was watching Mike Winger's suggestions like right around 2020, 2021. And one of his tips about for his ministry was that they had the YouTube A, B. You can try different titles for videos.
Mm-hmm.
You saw that?
Well, I knew they were doing it, like beta testing.
Yeah. So
Kind of
you're
throw two ideas out there, see which one sticks.
yeah, and then also like if one group of people likes this type of title, they shoot the attraction to that group, and then you know, and the other title maybe attracts a different type of person. They shoot it to that person.
Yeah.
I know.
One of the things I want to learn how to do is, you know how we've recently seen like 3 bubbles for all the people that are participating in the conversation, and then YouTube gives you an opportunity to pull up all 3 of their channels.
Oh, are you talking about at the end, or are you talking about while the video is going on?
Yeah, while the video is going on, what you can do is you can like scroll down a little bit to the title of whoever's running it, and it'll let you click on it and go to their channel while the video, because for me it then goes into picture in picture, and then I can kind of peruse the rest of their content while I'm still listening to them. And I've noticed recently that like on ours now, maybe I should share screen. They say you're not supposed to do this, but
internet hygiene
anyway. Yeah. Well.
Yeah. Wait, and I think it comes down to like when you were doing your part search, right? It's like, okay,
this guy right here.
All right, what am I looking at? Oh, you mean the I am driving bubble?
Yeah. So there'll be 3 different bubbles here. Like, so I'm going to try to say her name.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Daniel, and Seth on their stream, they have 3 bubbles down here. So, and then when you click it, like now it just brings you right to my channel. But on their channel, if it's their video, you get a little pop up and it gives you all 3 of the options.
I mean, I haven't
seen that like when I upload videos.
That's interesting. Participants.
Like an OG Rose.
So I wonder if you, when you're doing like right now, you have the 3 bubbles in the chat. They have the 3 bubbles in the video, which only gives me report. But like I wonder if it's in your drop down menu. So like if you're on the video itself, like while you're like right now, if you were watching your live stream and it was muted,
okay,
and then like I'm on your live stream, right, watching it from the YouTube channel, but you know how you have the 3 dots and yeah, now go to your live. Yeah, go to your live video. What does that say?
So well, go in to watch.
Go into the video. Yeah. Mute. Yeah, you're already muted. Yeah. And then see the 3 dots. Yeah. See what it gives you for options. Download. Report.
Download to mobile and report.
All right. Go over on your chat, and at the top of the chat, there's 3 dots. You might need to full screen that because I don't see it on yours. It would be where the top chat. Yeah, there we go. 3 dots next to top. So I'm okay. So it doesn't. I was wondering if it gave you, since you're doing the hosting, like if it gave you an option. Yeah. Maybe you can right click me in that. What does it say? Participants. Go to participants again. Oh, maybe. Go back to
timeout.
Yeah. Go back to the chat. Go to the 3 dots next to one of my texts. One of my comments.
Add as moderator.
All
Those are
right, now
like wrenches, right?
yeah, go back to the three dots at the top near top fans.
Hold on. Let me make you a moderator.
Okay.
I'll do the same to Olson. Just throwing out
Olson-
wrenches,
Olson,
I guess.
he's not trustworthy. He's probably the most trustworthy person on here.
Agree. Well, from my perspective, he's way more trustworthy than me. Didn't give me an opportunity to do that. What? Oh, just because I didn't have the screen up. Okay. There we go.
All right, so
Got
the
some
three dots at
wrenches
the
for
top.
everybody. All right.
Yeah.
All right,
Yep.
now back up here.
And then see if go to participants, and then see if you can right click. Oh well, I'm not in there.
Yeah, you haven't chatted in a while.
Oh, that's weird.
Everybody's looking at the chat, so I'm not going to highlight them.
Okay.
There you go. Okay. Go up, y'all. There
Now
you go.
see if you can do anything with that. Right click it, or this
No.
might this
I
might
can right
need,
click it, but it brings up like my word.
okay, it might need to be like a Grim, or if anybody's in here that knows how to do it. We're looking to try to figure out how in the bottom of the avatar picture, like next to I am driving, you have Scott's picture in the circle bubble, and then below it, the other channels have little icons of the people that are actually on the screen, so that you can hover over those little icons and go to that channel and allow you to do picture in picture. So if anybody knows how to add those little stars or icons at the bottom of the bubble so people can do that, that would be helpful.
Oh,
if anybody,
that's a nice picture of you.
which
First
one
time
is
I've
it?
seen it. I'm assuming it's your Google picture. You're wearing a
Oh,
dark blue
yeah.
shirt.
Yeah.
Because on the what you call it, StreamYard, there was a button for people, and I hit that guy and he came up.
Yeah, I forgot that image was all professional like.
Yeah, I tried to pretend to be professional when I made mine. Like,
Yeah, you're professional.
yeah.
Talking about, you got a collar.
Well, so I took it to another notch during that time frame when I started thinking about my internet presence, because I was getting kind of thrown into the internet a little bit more. Like I was having to do a ton more emails outside of like my work email, so I was like using my personal email. So I started, making sure that I was presenting myself as well as I could, not necessarily to fake people out, but it's a thing. Like I said, people judge books by their covers, so they probably shouldn't, but they do. And we should try to be as inviting as we can to all folks.
We were talking about that at the church when we were talking about around our table tonight. Somebody brought up, we talked about sarcasm, and I'm like, I do that. Sometimes it's easier for me to use a joke to convey what I'm trying to convey, it as soft-hearted as I can, but I really want to convey it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's passive aggressive, and so it was one of those things where the problem when you're kidding around too much is when nobody will take you seriously. So like even when you are needing to be serious, or you're needing to command a group of guys or whatever, because you've screwed around so much, they don't know where the line is, you know? And then it takes accelerated voicing and accelerated seriousness, which comes off as being a jerk.
Assertive, aggressive is what
Right.
I've been called. Yeah.
Right. And it's like, and I had to learn that a hard way, is, being a friend, You know, like I learned under a boss that he was a people's boss. So he was really anti-management, and that worked well for his role. But it didn't work for me, because when I tried to do that, then I found people just taking advantage of the situation, and because I'm wired where I do care about people, he doesn't care about people, even though he was the people's manager. So
He was
it was
just
just
giving them what they wanted.
wow. It's just he's having a good time for his own benefit. So
Okay.
he's just enjoying life, and he's letting everybody kind of do their thing, and he sticks up for him all the time and everything. But when he'd ask him to do something, and he had to exert himself, they took him seriously. And this was just his personality. Like, it worked for him to be able to toggle back and forth. For me, it didn't work. You know what I mean? So it's not a cookie cutter for everybody. Some people can somehow balance being super friendly with subordinates and still convey, this. When I'm trying to convey this, I need this done, so. But I also still, I was a good boss. Like, everybody liked me. I respected everybody. I treated everybody with respect. I just didn't play the, I want to be your friend thing. Like, I just kept a healthy boundary there. I was friends with them. I just wasn't friends outside of there. I wasn't, there's like that line, you know what I mean?
I do, and I've struggled with it because I too care for people. And so it's, I don't want to become another mechanism of the machine, right? That middle management apparatus that's somewhere between the mission statement and, you know what I mean, what they're actually doing. And I'm just another thing that's just trying to, you know what I mean, get the product from one end of the warehouse to the other without, and I don't want to treat individuals as just a means to an end. And so, because I do care, like, finding that proper balance has sometimes been difficult for me. But I have found that through the way that I do it is by building enough rapport with individuals that they know that, for one, I take what I do very seriously, right? Even though I'm can joke around and do the things when it's appropriate, right? But I'm I put the bar so high for myself, and you better know that. And once they know that, then if I'm given a position of leadership, that I'm holding the bar high. And I think we should all hold the bar high. So let's hold the bar high together. The problem I have is for individuals that aren't interested in playing that game, right? They don't want to get on board. And then what do you do with that scenario? After encouragement fails, and especially in a current workplace marketplace where, it's not like a job site. A job site, you mess up, boss gets angry, you're gone that day, no questions asked. You'll be lucky to get a paycheck. Whereas once you go into the more professional realms, that type of dynamic doesn't exist, right? There's processes and things that have to take place, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but it's another game that has to be played that I'm not good at, at all, right? Because I feel, I'm a very much have learned to be a team player. And, if my middle linebacker keeps missing the play, I, I'm going to say something. And if you miss the play enough, I'm going to turn up the temperature.
You know what that makes me think of? While you were saying that, I was thinking of three things that actually there's a fourth one. So, the first thing was I realized people would take advantage of me. Like once they figured me out that I really did care what they think about me, it's
Okay.
like, ooh, I can manipulate him, you know? And so like I had to watch out for that. And then um li- living by example, and this goes to your bar thing, setting the bar. So there wasn't a job that I would dictate to somebody that I wasn't willing to do. And not just willing in my head, I literally would just pick up something and start cleaning or I just would do things
No
that
job's
was not
too low for you. Yeah.
right, right. And
Yeah.
I always respected whoever was doing whatever, even if weren't even on my crew or whatever. You know what I mean? Like a guy shows up to empty the crapper on our job site, you know, and he's like,
Offer
"Hey,
them a
we're
coffee or a donut.
yeah,
Yeah.
you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like it's,
Yep.
I'm not above anybody, whoever it is. So, and I think people saw that, so you're leading by example. And then the other thing was I had to get out of the habit of coming to my guys and saying, "Hey, man, they or the boss wants, or they're making us." I had to say, "Hey, this is how we want it done."
Hmm.
This is how, like, I was part of the upper team saying this is I actually want it done this way too, so there was this
Hmm.
this separation mentally that was created where they didn't look like I was wanting to complain about the thing that I was asking them to do. And it's so subtle.
Yeah. It's interesting because the thing I thought of when you said that was taking ownership. You're taking ownership of the thing,
That's
right?
right.
Yeah. Yeah.
The other
No, that's
thing
a good
was,
move.
as a boss, and this does not correlate to a lot of different professions, but I had the 3 A's, and I forget if I learned this from my brother-in-law or my brother's brother-in-law, or who I learned it from, but it was attendance, action, and attitude. And my rule was you could suck at any one of those three, and I'll be okay.
Hmm.
But you better be phenomenal at the other two. So,
Okay.
like, I had a guy that was overweight, right? And action, that, you know what I mean? Like getting things done and getting them done quick. It was very difficult for him, you know? And I did find things that allowed him to excel, like working the telehandlers and the machines, and he got really good at it. And he became the best on our crews at it. You know what I mean? But he was always there an hour early, sitting in his truck. When he was on the job, he was such a pleasant attitude. Everybody enjoyed his company. He made the job more enjoyable because he was there. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And then I had
Mm-hmm.
another guy. Man, I'm gonna tell you what, man. 15 to 20 minutes late every single day. You know what I mean? And this is like not I'm like, me. I'm like, when I'm on Chris Howard show, I'm there an hour early sitting in the parking garage, just kind of, I got time, so I'll talk to Chris. So that stuff is like not how I operate. But when he got there, he was on fire. He was a go-to guy. He knew his stuff. I could rely on him. He wasn't a slacker. And he had a great attitude. Everybody liked him and enjoyed working with him. And so, and then I had another guy, man, he was there always early. He was, he was, uh, he was a lightning guy. Like he did jobs with a lightning precision. But dude, what a crappy attitude, dude. It was almost comical. It was like having like a Archie Bunker on your crew. You know what I mean? But again, it was almost like that's just him. It's just how he is. So like I could overlook certain character defects because it's just not how you're wired. I get it. But in order for you to be of value, you have to bring some other things to the table.
Repeat those 3 A's for me one more time.
It was attendance, action, and attitude. And because it was, job site stuff, the action was the easiest way to remember it.
Yeah, so we had a similar thing, but it was in regards to selling the product to the customer. So it was good, fast, and cheap, right? Like you can only get two out of the three, basically. You can't get all three, right? Because something's going to fail. If we're doing it cheaply, then the thing's not going to be good usually, right? And if it is going to be good, it's going to take us longer to make it good, right? So, yeah, that was kind of a similar. So that maps pretty well to something I already have. I'm going to probably take that with me and kind of look around.
It doesn't work in every field, obviously.
No.
Like in the nursing field, someone who shows up late, like I don't know, like I mean, maybe you can have grace in those environments, but there are some times where jobs don't even allow you to look the other way on attendance or being late, and stuff. So so it may not translate and correlate across all.
Yeah, but it could be like late in responding to something, especially if it's down to stack. Because the one thing in our field is you're constantly reprioritizing the stack, right? That's something it's one of the bigger struggles I had in becoming a nurse is because I want everything in its place every single time, and I want to think all the way through the whole stack, so I don't put something out of place. But you can't do that. The stack is always changing, and it's probably made me a little bit ADD in my adulthood now because I don't tend to stay on task as easily as I once did.
That's interesting. And I was thinking about the stack when I was a sales manager. This is so like, I don't know, bootleg, whatever, but this is what worked. I had, a small blank notepad, right?
Okay.
And when customers would call in or they needed a manager, I would write down their name and number. I'd write down the issue, what the problem was. Boom, that slip was the problem, right? And the slips would mount. I mean, there would be days I'm fixing orders, whatever. I mean, that store did, what is it, $60 million in appliances a year.
Wow.
It's a lot. White goods appliances, meaning refrigerators, appliances, that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other 40 was like big screen TVs and stuff. So, but we were responsible, my boss and I were responsible for the 60. And it was just me and him. And he kicked a lot of responsibility down, but he was also had a photographic memory. So like there were things he could do that I just couldn't do.
Right. Yeah.
So I literally would have these there'd be some days where I'd have 40 of those sheets in my pocket. Right. And I'd pull them out of my top pocket and as I'm going through the day, and I'd literally be restacking it, from a priority.
Okay.
So like I physically, instead of it being a metaphorical or a computer stack in your situation, I'm like literally having a stack of papers and floating in triaging things. Like I know this person's hostile. I got to get this one done.
Right.
The person's out on delivery. This is time sensitive, and usually I'd flip it over and have the solution on the back, or I'd already be working something out or rewriting tickets or whatever.
Sounds like a great little system, man.
Oh, it was the only way I could survive, because in that place, if you couldn't juggle multiple plates spinning,
mm-hmm.
You weren't doing that job.
Yeah, that's the system has worked to try to take that away, right? Because that's obviously where you're going to run into mistakes, right? Is people not being able to juggle those things. But yeah,
it's a lost art now.
It's becoming more so that way. But then when you get people that can do it, they tend to really shine. And to be fair to the schooling, they try to teach it in nursing school, but I really think we've done kids a disservice because we don't teach them critical thinking at all anymore. It's as close to rote memory as you can get, I feel like. And I was always a horrible memorizer. I like when I was going through like A&P or biology, I wanted to know how things worked. And farm's a good one. I wanted to know how the med worked. If I knew how the med worked, I don't have to memorize the side effects. I can just derivative off of how the thing works and basically get to the side effects, right? So yeah, so we spend a lot of time in nursing school, but it's difficult for a lot of people. But that was just my normal kind of brain process of how I kind of thought through things. And I don't know if that was something that I was born with, or because I was at a different time, they actually tried to encourage that kind of thinking. But anyway, it's a lost art nowadays.
Zet makes a good point. One of the things that I read these two different books, they're real tiny. One was called For Women Only and one was called For Men Only. And it's obvious why I wanted to read it, because I wanted to know what I assumed women knew about men that they clearly don't, that they need a book. And then what do I assume I know about women that I don't know? So I read both of them. But one of the things they talked about is the way that our brains are wired versus their brains. And they used the computer analogy. And they said women have an ability to multitask at a tremendous level. So they have tons of windows open on their desktop, all with timers and so timers are constantly running. So they're always thinking about the different windows, whereas guys are single focused. Like we get a bunch of windows. We are on that window until it's closed, done, X out, move to the next window. So that's why for us, like the stacking is can be difficult to do that. And then, but what's fascinating about that book was he was using an analogy of him. He had just grilled up some stuff for his kids. He wanted to treat his wife to a cooked meal. He planned it all out. He sat the kids down. He had his wife sitting down. They're sitting at the table, and one of the windows came, and she's like, "Hey, I remember seeing the barbecue grill lighter on the counter in the kitchen," and they had young kids. And so she's like, basically bringing it up to like, this, is going to bother me. And he's like, "Oh, it's fine. It's got the kid safety thing on it. Even if something happened, whatever, so he kind of wasn't that big of a deal to him. And they're sitting having dinner, and he's looking up, and he could see that she's not enjoying herself. The window's running. And so he just quickly got up, took care of the lighter, put it in the drawer, and came back, and she had this, "Did you take care of the lighter?" He goes, "Yeah." He goes, "Thank you so much." Like, it meant the world to her. So he learned to help them close their windows if you want to contribute,
Yeah.
And I was like, that's really, really cool, to understand that that's how women operate. Like, and I, with my family, I'm like that. Like my mom, the other day, we have the roof getting redone, and she's freaking out about all the things that need to be done on the patio, and did I tell you about this already? Yeah. And so like, I'm like, it'll be fine. I got this, And as soon as she left, I got on it and I took everything down. I got everything lined out. And, the next morning she walked out to her patio and she saw it was all perfect the way she needed it. And she was so happy. She was like, "Oh, you don't have to give me a Mother's Day gift." So I'm like, "What are you talking about?" She's like, "That meant so much to me." I'm like, "Yeah, but you were losing it. Like, you weren't even giving me a chance." I said, "You kind of need to not lose it so much, and you might get more of that, like realizing that I'm going to take care of it, But
so that's the way I tend to think, is like, you're not trusting me to get to the window closing. But I think the lighter was the perfect kind of picture, because it didn't take that much to go just put the lighter in the drawer. So good on him.
You
I like that.
cut me off if this is boring to you, okay? But in that book, I also found, and this is just a generalization. They surveyed a whole bunch of people, and this is what they found out. Doesn't mean isn't the rule for everybody.
Right. Right.
But they asked the question during their surveying of men and women, they asked the question, if you had to choose from one of these two horrible situations, which would you choose?
Okay.
If you had to be alone and unloved for the rest of your life, or disrespected and not trusted, which would you choose?
Alone and loved?
Alone and unloved for the rest of your life, or disrespected and not trusted?
Alone and unloved.
Exactly. But here's what's so crazy. When they were surveying this, men said this was a really hard question to answer. And so they probed the men more, like, why? And in the comments, they found out that for men, trust, displaying trust and respect to us translates as love.
Yes.
And the example that was given was like, if you're a group, you're hanging out with another couple at a dinner, and your wife makes a joke about you because you have a funny personality and you're cool with it, or you have been, and everybody kind of is laughing on your behalf, inside it's like, golly, like it's kind of a disrespectful thing. Or you just pull over and get directions, or you know what I mean? It's like,
Mm-hmm.
And so it's weird. So like the question was, do you think well, I don't think she's showing me love. I know she loves me, but she's not showing me love. And then they asked the same question in a big room where they had split men and women on both sides of the room, and they asked the same question. And when the men raised their hands for their answer, and the women raised their hands, both sides are gasping because they can't believe the other one would even be okay with that. Because for men to hear women would rather be disrespected and not trusted than alone and unloved their entire life. I'm not saying they want to be abused, or I'm not saying that. I'm saying the idea that there's something in the survey that had to do with the fact that, like, when you sit down and have an argument, or you're going to have a disagreement and a talk, and it's going to be heavy, one of the things he was saying is he would always sit down and start off with saying, hey, listen, we're okay. I'm not going anywhere, but I want to talk about this, because there's a defense mechanism that goes on in both sexes, right? Like, if we feel we're not being trusted, you get defensive, right? Or if she feels like you're going to go somewhere, you're going to take off, or you're going to, or maybe your go-to is to go for a drive by yourself, whatever. It's like, there's a fear factor that plays into them differently. And I think one of the examples was that's kind of why there's more women that will stay in bad abusive situations than leave, whereas,
Be alone.
yeah. And again, this is,
I didn't know. So that's how I would, because I was always taught if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. And if the thing is getting too hot, you walk away, right? And so that's what I would do. Not intending with this new information, right? Because I guess I always intuited it, maybe, but and I would try to stay in the thing, but eventually I'm just like, the vision I have. I don't know if you know the Christian band Sanctus Real. But they got a song. It's either Lead Me or Lead Them. That is one of my favorite all-time songs. It's a really sweet song, but the beginning of the video starts with him storming out of the house and slamming the truck door and driving off. And it's so yeah.
Knowing limitations is probably important too. I mean, if somebody has not work through violent tendencies or whatever.
but yeah, but to know that I was sticking it to her even harder by doing that, because that was actually the exact inverse of what I was trying to do. I was trying not to get pushed to the point where I'd say something, because once it's out there, you can't put it back in, and so I would feel myself getting to the point where I could say something that I couldn't take back, and so I'd just leave. But it kind of breaks my heart a little bit to know that had a double impact on her, so thanks for sharing. That's
Yeah.
gonna I mean, we haven't been in that kind of situation in a while, but because
It reminds
we're
me
old
of
and too tired, and
well, women too. It's like when they don't get they think like when you're now GPS, in light of GPS, it's a lot rarer to even have this happen, but women don't realize that it's not that we're too proud to stop and ask for directions. That wasn't ever it. We have plenty of time to get there. We're within 5 minutes of the place. We're it's like a challenge for us to see if we can figure it out.
mm-hmm.
But the window's running for them, right? So they instantly think it's a pride thing, and when they're giving us a hard time about, just stop and ask somebody, for where this place is, and it's like, it's not a pride thing. That's not what it's about. I can do that, if we still can't find the place and I'm a minute out, you know what I mean? Or I need or or we're late or something, but it is just so weird how we're so wired differently.
I don't think it's weird at all. I think
No,
it's
I
by
mean,
design. Yeah, like, and I'm
fascinating.
grateful for it, because I have that opponent processing. Like, one of the things I was thinking of when you were discussing the 3 different types of A's is that, interestingly enough, you're building a much more functional team, because each one of those different people that are failing for a reason that's going to make them recognize a problem that the other 2 aren't going to be able to see, right? That idea that you're bringing in the difference. And the same thing happens, like, my wife is able to see things that I'm not able to see. And when we were raising our son, she would have a caution light that would say, hey, look over there, you need to maybe look into this about him. And she kept me on the center. The way I've described it in the past, it's like, I'm on the I was going to say the right, but I'll say the left. I'm on the left side of the road. She's on the right side of the road. And by us being on those different pulling kind of back and forth, we end up providing an arena for my son to grow up in, that's in the center of the road. You know what I mean? And
or learn from both sides of the road, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it's like, if you're really good with money and she's really good with, I don't know, I'm just, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's like you strengthen her in those details, right? And she strengthens you on maybe being outgoing. I'm just making something up. So like, if somebody is super outgoing, usually you're attracted to them because that's your weakness, right? I mean, that seems to me, yeah, that's really nice. I'm glad. But so that's what's so great about the whole iron sharpens iron thing, even in a marriage, it's, and yeah, I mean, I couldn't imagine. I feel like also, if it's so extreme, it might not be necessarily great for the kid. Like, almost doesn't even make sense, because they're not even on the same wavelength. You're driving on the same road we're talking about, what I mean? Like, so
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that's so cool.
Yeah, one of the things I heard was, so there were 2 things I heard when I was a younger man about elderly and some of the surveys that had come through. The number one thing that I learned from this, I must have been in like 5th grade or something. I was pretty young, so that would have been like 10 years old or something. But they said that they asked people what their biggest regrets in life were. And the number one answer, according to this individual that told this 10-year-old this, was that they didn't take enough chances or they didn't take enough risk. That was like one of the biggest regrets. And the other thing that I heard at around the same time, I don't think it was from the same study, but it was the things you miss about a past love, like your wife dies or your husband dies, and what are the things that you miss? And it's always the things that they fought over, right? And then that made me kind of backwards that thing out and think about the way I fell in love with my wife. The reason I fell in love with my wife is because she wasn't planned, right? She could take us on these adventures that, ended up being fun and exciting. And I adored that. Like, and I should respect that, as we're in. And I was able to hold on to it, right? And that's not to say there wasn't difficulties
Sure.
and, whatever, but
Growing.
we ended up and it's interesting. I heard somebody else say too that I was thinking about this during one of my last videos in the yard when the kind of coming together as one with your spouse. We carry them with us. Like my wife does the same thing when she's like in the grocery store or thinking about buying something that's on sale, because they built end caps for this lady. She's an impulse buyer like nobody's business. So, but she takes me with her, right? And thinks about like what I'm going to say or how I'm going to react and thinks about how to justify. And that's how we've kind of come together and became one. And I did the same thing when I'm with her. I got the mulch pile in the front yard. She's pointing at that, to your point, saying the window's still open. When are you gonna close that window? The neighbors are starting to talk.
Yeah.
So it's grand. It really is grand.
You know how many times I've told people about those two books? I was like, especially because usually somebody will randomly be talking to me about their significant other, right? Just one-on-one, you get, in a day's work or whatever. And I'd be like, hey, listen, you got to hear about this. And I tell them the same thing I just told you. And they're always like, wow, that's really interesting. I'm like, dude, they're not huge books, man. I'm like, I'm telling you, there's all sorts of nuggets in these things. Now, I remember back in the day, there was that book, Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus.
I read that one. Yeah.
But I will say that one's definitely from a more secular angle, for sure.
Okay.
This is an actual Christian couple. So I think that obviously the lens may play a little bit of a part on something else,
You read both?
Yeah. And they're
Okay.
like I said, they're like tiny. They're like a book this big that's like only this thick, each one. They're not that much.
Yeah. I'll give it a look if I can find some time.
It is funny though when I read a book that really like kind of like makes me think, especially if it was years ago. Like I always want to check into the authors and see how they're doing, because it's like I used to tell people all the time about how cool it was to read. I'm sure tons of people have heard this book before, but Josh Harris's "I Kissed Dating Goodbye." Do you remember that?
Mm-mm. No.
It was back in like the 90s, and it kind of went the circuit of Christian churches, and like people were kind of, giving it to their kids and stuff like that. And the premise was you're going to learn more about a particular individual in groups. Whereas like the example was given, what do you do before your first date? Well, you get your hair combed, you're smelling nice, you're doing the best, you're looking your best, you're putting out your best foot forward, and then you show up and you might not eat, like if maybe a girl doesn't eat the certain thing or she, whatever, like you're not going to pick your nose at the dinner table or, it's like if that's what you do, you pick your nose. Well, you're not going to do it this night, so you're kind of, it's not really the real you, so. Yeah. I mean, again, of course, that's human nature. But the point was, if you were to be with a bunch of friends and you're not trying to make these eye contacts, hoping that she makes eye contact with you, and then you can kind of a little longer, to kind of convey your message.
Okay.
You know what I'm talking about. I'm not going to use the term. But if you genuinely are just having a good time with friends as young people, and then waiter comes over and the girl's like totally rude to the waiter. They're, like nasty, and you're like, wow, like she doesn't even know this person.
Mm.
What makes me think that that is not how she would be with somebody she loves and gets comfortable with eventually? And it's not hard of a leap to see that. It's like if we're always putting our best foot forward, you're not going to show me who you really are. But guess what? I'm going to see how you interact with other people. That's definitely going to be how you really are.
Yeah, I see the logic and behind it. I mean, the first thing that popped to my mind is a lack of intimacy, though. Like, I guess you're getting a deeper look if you're doing that, but
Yeah, no, let me back up too. That book got so much criticism because, well, let me start off with the end story. The end story is he ended up becoming an atheist.
oh,
He was a Christian kid. He did put out a book, courting, so like how the proper way to,
okay,
once you figure out who you want, not to have these long engagements that are over a year long and stuff. Like there's benefits from learning and growing together. But once you feel like this is who God's called you for, and this is the direction you've learned about them, like enough to know that you want to at least start courting them and getting to know them and getting to know their family a little more, and taking it to that next level. Yeah, we're talking about Josh Harris, I know. But anyway, the point is that when he became an atheist, it was like revolutionary. Like, okay, this guy clearly didn't have it all figured out. But there were nuggets in that book that were pretty cool, just like just the idea of seeing how people treat other people.
yeah,
I always had this impression like, oh well, she would never treat me that way, like she's about me. You know what I mean?
yeah,
But I
yeah.
was just in delusion land, like, no, if she's treating other people like that, dude, I mean, it's not always going to be roses.
No, no.
She's willing to treat the poor waiter she doesn't even know that way. Wait until you get on her bad side. So, but
I
whatever.
would agree.
Yeah, Josh Harris. He, I feel bad for the kid because, yeah, he definitely, I don't know, let a lot of people down. And then Kiss Dating Goodbye was such an extreme take that I think it sent trauma to people, like kids that grew up after reading that book. Like I don't know, maybe they took it to heart and just, I don't know, bad experiences, whatever.
I'm glad I missed it then.
Yeah. Luke, what do you think?
Luke does a lot of reading, man. That's what I took away from the conversation.
Yeah, I could never.
I don't know. I don't know
I
where
can
people
audiobook,
find
but
where do you read? When do you do your reading?
audio.
So that's what you do, like in the car or
I
something?
have to, and except for stuff that no, I didn't. Him and his ex-wife, I guess. No, it helps when I was doing things that I could literally be listening to, like having earphones in.
Mm-hmm.
But I've had a lot of jobs lately that's made it very difficult for me to be able to maximize that time frame, and really, I mean, like there were times when I was out in the field on a tractor for a couple of years, and it was
Okay.
awesome. I mean, I blew through so much stuff. I blew through.
That makes total sense. You're kind of paying attention to, just rotating around to a few points, to few visual points. Make sure you're going in a straight line, and yeah, I can
And
see
then,
that.
I mean, I blew through like, I ran out of stuff that I could think of to read. So I said, all right, what about some sci-fi, something a little light reading or whatever. And I ended up in as a Guy all his books, the space trilogy or the space, like the whole Foundation series, the robot series, like, which was pretty cool. It was entertaining, because that was also when I had an hour and a half drive to the location. So it was like a double whammy, so I had a lot of free time. But now, like, I just did City of God, or just finally finished City of God by Augustine. And man, that, because it's so long, it took so much time to finish it that it wasn't like it was before, whereas I can literally be chewing on stuff still by the time I'm finished with the book. Like, the recall is a lot easier, but when something takes me weeks to get through it, it makes it a little harder.
That's how I am with C.S. Lewis.
Yeah.
His stuff, I don't know. And I grew up in an age of video. Like, that's the way it gets into my brain. I watch people talk about it. I guess that makes me a more visual auditory learner. I could learn many different ways, but like reading comprehension portions of the standardized test, I never finished them. I could never finish them. Even after I started doing the whole read the questions at the end and kind of speed read through them, I would never finish that part of the test. I just always was like rereading paragraphs and, well, wait, what did that? Or my brain would go off into somewhere else as I was reading. And if it didn't grab me, I wouldn't stick to it. And it just, quite frankly, got quite frustrating. So I did not do a ton of reading. I've read a few Clive Cussler novels when I was younger. Read Jurassic Park at the behest of a friend before we went and saw the movie. And then the stuff that I read is like literal textbooks. I love reading textbooks. I'm such a dork. But like all this garden information that I got, I have tons of gardening textbooks. I mean, that's what my shelf is.
I'm a weirdo like that. I have a whole. Let me see here. Can you see behind me? You see this group right here?
Yeah.
You've got space and storage, add-ons, heating and cooling, kitchen and bath, paint and wallpaper, basic wiring, plumbing, new living spaces, walls and ceilings. Those are just the home improvement ones.
I can't stay focused on C.S. Lewis, man. I don't know if he's too smart or I just don't have the vocabulary.
Yeah, well, this was helpful for me as far as the learning part, especially when it was out of my wheelhouse. What I would do we talked about this. I would buy the audiobook and the paperback, and I would have both of them. So like when I did the 2,000 Years of Christ History, the volumes, there's like 5 of them. And I basically have the audio version and the book. And so I would keep the book on me while I'm listening. And when it got to some heavier things I really wanted to kind of dial in on, I would be in the book, following along, especially when they're reading names off. It was helpful because it helps cement when I see that person's name, that's who they're talking about. Like, I've heard that name so many times, like Tertullian's, like, or Tertullian, or, Origen, or whoever the early fathers, like if I'd read it, because I'm not a really great reader, okay, I would gloss past the name like it's unimportant. But because I've heard the name, now it's like it's cemented on how it looks. I mean, that sounds stupid, but it just helps me learn. Yeah.
Do you read out loud at all?
I used to before audio.
Okay. Yeah. Because there's actually science behind it. That's why we hear our voices differently. Somebody was talking about this on another stream or video I saw, that saying the thing out loud, like saying the prayer out loud. Actually, as a matter of fact, as I'm thinking about it, may have been Olson. I don't know. I could totally be wrong, but it actually causes the information to travel a different pathway into the brain. So that's when I was forced to do rote memory in the harder places in college just to get through. That's what I'd be doing. I'd just be reciting it over and over and over again to get it pushed into that other pathway.
So what's weird is, and this is, I mean, I don't claim this as a victim card, but I mean, I got a learning disability, but I'm not autistic like everybody. There's a lot of people that want to claim that, and it's just like, they're not like, they're not socially like that, like, but what do I know? I'm not the judge, but I'm like, I have a learning disability when it comes to reading. So I can hear and have a dialogue, and people can use some pretty big words. Like I can't compete with you, Luke. I got to be honest. Like, dude, you hammer out words a million miles a minute, and sometimes I'm like, okay, wait a minute, I got to write down what he just said.
Believe it or not, I can listen to Luke at a higher speed easier.
Oh, you mean plus 1.5, or you mean like
like 1.5 or 2?
Wow.
I think what it is it gets him back to the point faster. So I'm
I see
able
what
to
you mean.
follow his trails much easier if I if I lean into it.
That's a good point. I never thought about it that way. I mean, don't get me wrong. I can track usually what he's saying, no problem, But every once in a while there'll be a word that I know he doesn't necessarily mean it the way he means it. Like he's Luke, you're saying a thing, but you're speaking it a different way. So I'm like, okay, wait a minute. Let me write this word down. I know the definition of the word. I'm right on this. I want to make sure I'm correct, but that's not, I don't think, how he's meaning that word. So let me just backtrack. And sometimes I might run into something.
You'll find that I'll do that too, because for me, I don't have the vocabulary. I got more of the application layer, but the vocabulary and the language of the software, I'm learning it as I play. But I will, like the other day, I was definitely likely messing up the girdle point because of how I was
girdle point. Girdle.
Yeah.
Girdle.
Yeah. But that's how we learn, and thank God we got some friends that are gonna point it out in a way that isn't like, look at him.
No, I had when I was in Atlanta and I was just first going back to school. I was only like in my 30s. And I mean, dude, I hadn't been to school in what, 18, high school, that was it. I didn't go to college. And then I decided I'm going to go ahead and give this a shot, because I had already been 5 years sober. And I was like, I could have had a degree by now. Like that was like what I was thinking, because I'd already got a house. So like I hit so many milestones and goals that I'd wanted to hit after I got sober. And that was kind of something I wasn't even on my bingo card, So I tapped into it. The guy that lived next to me, he worked at Emory University, and we used to smoke cigarettes on the balcony, and we'd have conversations on the balcony, and I'd always be in a shirt and tie. So we're in a nice condo, so he's like, dude, I thought you were like a CEO or something. And I'm like, what? What are you talking about? He's like, yeah, I didn't know you. I had no idea you sell appliances. Not that he was shaming it. He just didn't think that was where I was at. He's like, yeah, you formulate really high level, you structure sentences in a pretty high level. Now people in this corner will probably be laughing that I'd even say that, because
I would disagree.
Well, disagree. But so I invited him over to look at one of my first papers, and I said, I need some help, man. Can you help me? I need help with the grammar. I need help with the this and the that. I'm like, this isn't working. And this is before Dragon Dictation or audio to text or any of that.
Okay.
So he's like, sure. He gets over there, and I had my computer on the big screen TV. I was all tech savvy, and he gets over there and he's standing there and he's looking at it. He's like, oh, And I'm like, dude, you're killing me. Just help me out here. so he's like, dude, we have such, he goes, yeah, you know, when the presidents debate and they would have the ratings on their education levels of their structure of their sentences on how high of a level of the education level. He goes, dude, when you talk again, this is his words. This has nothing to do with what I think of myself. He's like, you're talking like a PhD level structure. He said, but this is like third grade writing.
Damn.
And I was like, dude, I have a learning disability, bro. I'm like, this is why I needed your help. I'm like, I know that I write and run on sentences. Claire's made fun of me about that before. You know, like sometimes I get in a rush and I just text something and I put it out there. And I you know, I mean, I might do a minor proofread, but I'm like, I leave words out and I'm like, you know what I mean, you know? So anyway, enough of that. Yeah.
I haven't noticed it yet, but look, writing's a different skill than speaking. Yeah.
I wish I could go on Substack and hammer out my thoughts, but I can't do it.
That's all right. There's other means.
There's other people that can do that stuff.
All right, man. I think I'm going to have to shut it down. I still haven't eaten dinner. And
oh, man. I'm sorry. Yeah, I got to get to bed early.
I know. That was the plan. It's all right, though. Thanks for jumping on.
You got it.
Everybody in the chat, thanks for coming on and saying hey. We'll talk to you guys later.